times for all of us with all we have going on in our family, our lives, our community, and in our country. And I'd like to begin by, again, borrowing something from the mayor of Ignacio in that recent council meeting that I attended. And the mayor began with a brief moment of silent reflection. And whether you use that to express gratitude for this wonderful, beautiful, exquisite county that we live here in La Plata, or empathy for those in our community and country who are struggling right now, or just to breathe. But I'd like to begin now with just a moment of silent reflection. Okay, thank you for that. I really appreciate that. I'm honored to introduce Julie Westendorf, our current county commissioner in District 3. Julie was elected in 2012 and is term limited, which is why Matt Salka is running for her seat on the Board of County Commissioners. Julie?
Hi, good evening, everybody. I really appreciate you making time in your schedule for yet another Zoom meeting, perhaps, if you're working remotely from home. But this is a really important opportunity for folks in La Plata County to hear and learn about our two candidates for county commissioner. I am the current county commissioner coming from District 3, which is the Bayfield Ignacio Vallecito district. Matt Salka is running for my seat. And I just want to, first of all, thank you. There's a lot of people who helped get me in office sitting in this meeting, and I thank you for that. It's been an honor to serve La Plata County for the last 7.5 years. And I look forward to seeing Matt and Marsha sitting in the seats that Gwen Lackold and I hold right now. Gwen couldn't join us tonight, but she has endorsed both of these candidates and they have her full support. I also have endorsed both of these candidates and they have my full support. In fact, I was overjoyed when each of these candidates, Matt and Marsha, announced that they were going to run for county commissioner. They're not Johnny-come-latelys. They both announced well over 18 months ago, and they've been working hard since that time to get to know what the role of county commissioner is, get to know our community, the individuals. We're a very diverse community, from folks who live up in the mountains around Purgatory down to southeast La Plata County, where it's dry most of the time, and every place in between, including the city of Durango, Bayfield, Ignacio. So thank you very much, Matt and Marsha, for deciding you want to run for county commissioner, and I appreciate your commitment to learning the job before you take office. Just as personally, I've also have enough interaction. I've had enough interaction with them that I know these are two people who are committed to public service. Both of them have a record and a history of public service. Marsha has been involved with a number of efforts in the community, including helping facilitate the special management area for the Hermosa Creek drainage. Matt has shown his dedication to public service through service on the Bayfield Town Board, as well as serving as mayor of Bayfield. They both have the temperament to serve in this capacity. It's a tough one sometimes. You hear you don't please all the people all the time, and you hear people a lot of times struggling with some of the bigger challenges in their life. They're cooperators, and they're people who can don't walk into a situation with a predetermined idea of what the outcome will be. They listen, they think, they get as much information as they can, and then they make a decision based on what their good judgment is. They're both running as Democrats, which of course I'm a Democrat as well, and And my view of my role as a Democrat on the county commission isn't that I'm taking a certain expectation or a certain agenda for politics into the role, but that I'm actually looking at, I have democratic values that I bring with me. They are values of equality, justice for all, a voice for the people. And I'm grateful that we have two people competent to fill that role. And lastly, I've seen Matt and Marsha trying to prepare themselves to be county commissioners, listening in on Zoomed meetings about our land use code, which we have spent the last 3 years working on and trying to build community support behind. They've been sitting in on meetings about the county's response to COVID-19 and just general county business. It makes me very pleased and happy to be able to support Matt and Marsha, Matt Salka and Marsha Porter Norton in their efforts to become county commissioners. Good luck, folks, and look forward to casting our votes for you in November.
Thank you.
Thank you, Julie, and
Thank
for
you.
your service.
Thank you so much, Julie, for joining us tonight. We're going to let Julie go because I know she's got a lot going on right now. And before we hear from Marsha and Matt, just a few things. If you didn't have a chance to email your questions in, we're going to be taking questions in the chat function, which Ann Marquardt will be helping us with tonight. Thank you, Ann. Following opening statements, we ask that Matt and Marsha keep their answers to under 2 minutes each per question, and we hope to get to everybody. So please communicate respectfully in the chat forum. We're all neighbors here in La Plata County, and while there may be times when we may agree to disagree on some things, we're all neighbors here. So Matt won the toss ahead of the Zoom, and we will start with Matt Salka.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Commissioner Westendorf, for endorsing both Marsha Porter Norton and myself. We will do our best to make you proud when we take the next seat for County Commissioner for District 2 and 3. Hello, my name is Matt Salka, and I'm running for County Commissioner. My experiences are Mayor of Bayfield. I was the Secretary of La Plata Economic Alliance Board, Planning Commission for the town of Bayfield, and I currently own 2 small businesses. From those experiences, I have learned what it takes to lead and govern effectively, and I am confident I'll be an asset to the county. Before I moved to La Plata County, I was a son of a military family. My grandfather served in the Navy during World War II, and my father served in the Navy for 25 years and was the director of utilities for the city of Durango. I attended Fort Lewis College for my information systems degree and started a small IT business. Several years later, I started a second business in pest control. I have deep roots here, and I first learned the importance of public service from my father and grandfather. Serving others is my true passion. Being mayor was a pivotal moment in my life. I realized serving the public to make a difference in their lives is my passion. I found myself working less at my 2 businesses and more for the town of Bayfield. As a nonpartisan mayor, I am known for my ability to look at all sides of an issue and to work compatibly with all citizens, no matter what party affiliation, to reach effective solutions. I will continue those efforts for La Plata County as your commissioner. I am running for county commissioner because I want all La Plata residents to have access to great opportunities to support their families and thrive. And with my experience, I will continue these efforts from the moment I'm elected as your La Plata County Commissioner. During my time as mayor, we have achieved a lot for the town. A water sewer master plan, which, by the way, we brought in a new water plant at no additional cost to residents. Land use code for the town. Mill Street revitalization, which helped attract 3 new restaurants on Mill Street. Park master plan to give direction for our future of our parks. Recycling was not in Bayfield. I helped bring that into the town. Bear resistant trash containers and transparency. As mayor, I felt it was crucial that the residents of Bayfield had access to our meetings. It helped create a Facebook page, new website, and we now video record and stream all of our town board meetings. I want to take that experience and bring it to the county commissioner's job so I can have a positive impact across La Plata County. These experiences have taught me how to make real, meaningful progress. I want to be La Plata County Commissioner so I can keep the county moving in a direction so all residents can enjoy the place that we call home. My key issues are, and not limited to, are affordable housing, As a running resident of La Plata for 19 years, I know all too well how tight this housing market is. I believe there are ways to create affordable and attainable housing for first-time homebuyers, and I want to be a part of that. My experiences with Bayfield's Planning Commission has helped me understand that there needs to be a better relationship between developers, landowners, and the government. Quality jobs. As a small business owner, I know personally how difficult it is to live in a county where the cost of living increases yearly. We need both larger employers with well-paying jobs, as well as infrastructure that serves our many entrepreneurs cost effectively. As a leader of the La Plata Economic Alliance, I know the hard work that goes into attracting and retaining businesses, and I am committed to pursuing more opportunities for our community and ensuring that future growth is equitable and benefits both new and long-term residents in our rural areas and in the towns and the city. Balanced budget. As an elected official, I am committed to governing responsibly with a balanced budget. It comes from my experience as a small business owner and is part of my approach as a public servant. As a mayor of Bayfield and trustee, I've kept a balanced budget over my 6-year tenure. As county commissioner, you can count on me to govern within our means and to keep our expenses and revenue balanced. Last but not least, infrastructure improvements. Infrastructure is key to smart growth. Our county roads and bridges need to stay maintained. As mayor, I helped lead Bayfield's water plant expansion at no additional cost to town residents. Recently, I helped secure a $3 million water line replacement project. Also tackled a 1% sales tax increase for our roads and a large bridge replacement project. As county commissioner, you can count on me to seek grants, strategic partnerships, and always look out for La Plata's best interest when it comes to infrastructure. What's best for La Plata County? Let's work together as a team. This is your county, and I want to be your voice. I want to express my gratitude to Ann Markward and Beverly Ellis and Julie Westendorf for coming and being a part of this meeting. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak with the citizens of La Plata County. If you like what I said, please vote for me, Matt Salka. Please also tell your friends and family. I'm needing help with sign locations, endorsements, and of course, campaign contributions. You can find more of my information at mattsalka.com. Thank you.
Matt, thank you so much. Marsha?
Thank you. I also want to extend my gratitude to you, Beverly. A lot goes into these things, and she did a lot of work. And also Commissioner Westendorf, who scooted off this call. My name is Marsha Porter Norton. I'm running for County Commissioner from District 2, as you all know. And I want to bring my skills in uniting people for the common good and forging common ground to work for you. And what is the outcome? It's healthy communities and a strong economy. Now more than ever during this pandemic, we need leaders who are collaborative, who understand government, who have been in the trenches of getting things done, because we have so much work to do around that balance between our economy and public health. A little bit about me, I'm a 4th generation Southwest Colorado, and it's actually the part of the resume I'm most proud of. But having said that, I know a lot of people aren't as concerned about when people got here. They're worried about their future. They're worried about the now. I moved to Durango in 1994. And as I said, I'm a 4th generation Southwest Colorado, and I grew up on a ranch in Lewis, north of Cortez. The little tiny burg of Lewis is named after my great-grandfather, who was a merchant and would come through Southwest Colorado from Iowa on his way to Mexico. I have no idea why he ended up settling north of Cortez, but my roots go very deep. But again, your future is my focus. When we moved here, I was executive director of a nonprofit called Operation Healthy Communities. We worked on education, kids and families issues, the environment, conservation, and the economy. I'm very proud when I was the executive director that we developed the state's first livable wage calculation that was based on local market conditions, and it's still used today by Region 9 Economic Development District. In 2000, I started my own business. So I've been a business owner for 20 years. It's a consultancy practice, and what I do is I'm a public issues facilitator. I help communities find solutions. I've worked with over 1,300 meetings, either in a role of facilitator, mediator, leader, And I've worked with over 100 groups in our region, including almost all the governments in our entire region. And importantly, I've worked on issues that the county deals with every single day: land use, budget and fiscal issues, roads, public lands, public health, and human services. So I have a lot of experience in the kind of issues that our commissioners and our staff and the 40 boards and commissions involved with our county deal with. My slogan on my brochure is proven leadership, and I'd like to tell you why. I have facilitated, I'm known for being the lead facilitator for Hermosa Creek, and it brought over 45 interests together. We got bipartisan federal legislation for a new wilderness area and special management area, and it brought together recreation, water interests, the ski area, timber, ecology interests, wilderness interests, and pretty much you name it. The meetings were open, and we got consensus on a package that ended up with bipartisan federal legislation. I facilitated the first West Durango land use plan at the district area level. We worked on it for 2 years, lots of conflict, and we sailed through the Planning Commission. I helped start Firewise Southwest Colorado, which is now the Wildfire Adapted Partnership, and won an award from the Colorado State Forest Service. I have served on 10 boards and commissions, including the Fiscal Needs Committee of 2015 that the county convened. I'm a graduate of Leadership La Plata and won the Leadership La Plata Barbara Conrad Leadership Award. And I also attended the 2015 Capitol Conference. The issues that I want to work on are good jobs and a thriving, diverse local economy. We are hurting in our community. We have a 10% unemployment rate, and we need to bring our economy back. And I think there are opportunities to diversify our economy with certainly helping our tourism sector stay strong, but also with sustainable jobs such as outdoor recreation, renewable energy, agriculture, and timber value added products and local food. We need to keep broadband strong and keep our airport strong if we're going to have a good economy. Like Matt, I'm for affordable housing, and I'll talk more about that in the questions. Vital county services during this pandemic is key. Counties are key to the pandemic all over Colorado. They're providing needed services such as public health and food and provision of basic things. I also care a lot about roads and bridge. I worked on the 2016 Road and Bridge campaign. We were not successful taking it over the line, but I learned a lot about what we would do differently in the future. Finally, there's 2 issues that I care a lot about, which is renewable energy and smart growth. I think the vast majority of people want all governments at all levels to do more to have a clean energy tomorrow. I'd like to see our fleets over time get cleaner. I'd like to make sure that our land use system is set up for renewable energy products to go through in a smooth way. So I know the county, I know the people, I know how to get things done, and I'm ready to serve as your next commissioner. And my website is marshaporternorton.com. Thank you.
Thank you, Marsha. So the questions that we have, again, we're going to be limiting you to 2 minutes. When I hold up this red folder, you have 30 seconds to wrap up your response. Not very technically oriented here, so I appreciate that. And our first question, Marsha, you will be our first respondent, followed by Matt, and then I'll flip the order. So first question, what do you hope to accomplish as county commissioner? Marsha, you first.
Okay. What I hope to accomplish as county commissioner is, first of all, we're in a pandemic. And until we have the proper vaccine and proper contact tracing and all the public health resources we need, testing, we are in a stabilization and long-term recovery phase here. I was listening to the airport the other day, Tony Vicari, who leads the airport. In that particular industry, they're looking at not being back to normal for 2 to 5 years. So it's hard to say for our county when we can say we're back to normal, but I think the provision of basic vital county services is important. That includes a balanced budget. It includes the provision of all the things the county's doing to respond to COVID. Secondly, what I really want to work on is this idea of making our county more affordable for young families and for seniors and for teachers and sheriff's deputies and everybody out there, people like Matt, that have younger families and are working, many people work more than one job to try to make it, and just the overall affordability and livability. So those are really my 2 priorities, is making sure we're leading through the pandemic, and making sure we keep our eye on the long-term ball to make this a place to live for everyone.
Thank you, Marsha. Matt?
Yes. So for me, on my two important items would be, of course, is our health services in La Plata County. There is going to be a time, we will be seeing this here. I'm afraid that COVID will not go away after a few months. So we really need to focus on our health services in La Plata County. We need them. I am not a doctor. I need the assistance from San Juan Basin Health to be able to get the knowledge to make better decisions for La Plata County. Second of all would be quality jobs. Due to the COVID situation that we're all facing, I've been feeling it too as well with my small business. We need to make sure that young families, everyone across La Plata County to be able to have a quality job in order to pay their bills and to survive in a place where we all call home. So for those two instances, it would be for me is quality jobs and health services for La Plata County.
Thank you. Our second question we have is something you both have touched on already. COVID-19 is a dominant issue our community is facing right now. How would you, as a commissioner, hold on, I'm having my own technical difficulties here. There we go. How would you, as a commissioner in 2021, make our community resilient to impacts of COVID-19? Matt, we'll start with you.
So for me, this is very important. I just briefly discussed it on the previous answer, but we really need to rely on our health services. San Juan Basin Health is an important asset for our community. For me, it would be the reality is we only have so much money in the county. What are we going to do in order to help out our health services in La Plata County? The scary part about this is that we don't have much more money. So how are we they're going to require and need more assistance. So the reality of this is what are we going to do about this? And for me, it is still working with finding ways to generate revenue in order to help provide more assets, more funds for San Juan Basin Health to provide us better guidance and to help us through this pandemic. It's an unfortunate situation, but for me, it would be where are we going to get the money and how are we going to get them to help us out? So for me, finding other additional revenues to be able to get help from San Juan.
Marsha, I'm sorry.
That's okay. It happens to all of us. I think, so the question is about resiliency during COVID. My answer is that who would have ever thought that we would be running for office in a pandemic and that schools would have to be struggling in such significant ways, that we would be having meetings like Matt and I were at this week where, you know, we had box lunches and sat 6 feet apart. Nobody quite thought we would be living through this. So I believe that collaboration is how we lead to resiliency. The county cannot do it alone. Matt is absolutely right that we need to advocate for public health services and funding and testing and contact tracing and continue to educate our community about safety measures. But I believe the some 35 entities that have been part of the Economic Recovery Task Force, whether that's Durango Tourism, the Chambers of Commerce in Bayfield, Ignacio, the Southern Ute Tribe, the county, all of the La Plata Economic Development Alliance, we're going to have to band together, and in fact already are. So we're going to be in this for a long time. We can define common solutions together. I think specifically what the county can do is make sure that we advocate to federal and state levels for as much resources that we are entitled to. And secondly, we need to get our land use code done so that businesses that are looking forward to either expanding or growing during this time can do that with, you know, not everybody can go in and get just whatever they, of course, propose. But we need to be open for business and to make sure that we're bringing our business sector back. So many people are hurting. I mean, 10% unemployment rate is really quite high. And so I would say continue collaboration, and then let's just make the county do everything possible for our citizens.
Thank you, Marsha. Our next question is with regard to affordability. How will you address the issue of affordability housing in La Plata County? Marsha, let's start with you first.
Affordability of housing and affordable housing, workforce housing is one of my top priorities. On my website, on my Facebook page, excuse me, you can find a town hall I did on this. You can find a blog, and you can also find a survey, fill out a survey monkey on it. It's very important to me. I realized quickly after doing, by the way, I've done 50 listening sessions after I announced last year, and this comes up almost all the time. Many young people in our community, even married people or people that have partners, have to have a roommate to make it. Many young people don't even put on their wish list that they want to buy a condo or a manufactured home or a home because they can't afford it. So what I am calling for is all the entities, the private sector, the city, the municipalities, Bayfield, Ignacio Tribe, La Plata Economic Development Alliance, and the nonprofits to come together and do a plan that is an investment strategy. I don't want a plan that sits on the shelf. I want an investment strategy, and everybody agree to how they can be part of the plan. And that would include, getting consensus on some things and moving forward and having huge momentum around affordable housing. I think if Matt and I are elected, when we are elected, I will say, we should talk about this at every meeting that we go to. And we should talk about partnerships and collaboration and bring people into the fold. We can do this. We're not going to solve it for everybody, but we can get more affordable housing in La Plata County.
Thank you. Matt?
So for me, one of the important factors of running in my campaign is about relationships. And relationships are definitely important. And what Marsha Porter Norton was talking about with bringing organizations together to the table to find a plan, to find ways to be able to have young families, including like myself too as well. As I described before, 19 years renting a home and own 2 small businesses. I understand the struggles. I understand the issues that the residents of La Plata County are facing. For me, it would be maybe even restructuring the Regional Housing Alliance. There's going to be a meeting next week on this that I'll definitely be attending, as well as businesses and housing work together. If we do not have well-paying jobs in order for families to afford a home, this all works hand in hand. So for me, it is still quality jobs, bringing these organizations together to the table to come up with plans. As mayor of Bayfield, I helped be a part of 52 lots brought into Bayfield. The great news about that is it gives more options for housing. But the unfortunate part, in my opinion, is it's still expensive. You're looking at $70,000 for a lot. For me, the majority of the people in La Plata County cannot afford that. So for me, it's about relationships, just like what Marsha said, coming to the table, working together, come up with a plan, and find ways to bring infrastructure in for cheaper or more reasonable. So that's what relationships, let's bring it together.
Great. I'm sorry. And then when I hold this up, you still have 30 seconds, but I just,
Okay.
it's
All
just
right.
kind of like a signal to wrap. So you don't, it's not good. I'm not going to cut you off or anything.
All right. Perfect.
All right. You guys are doing great on time. I really, really appreciate it because we'd like to get to as many questions as possible. And if you in our audience have questions, please be sure to put them in the chat. The next question is with regard to development. Do you support the new land use code and why? We'll start with Matt.
I do. This was a direction that needed to be taken place a long time ago. The land use code was not updated since the 80s. Times are changing. Situations are different. And for me, I am for it. Why? Because of the updates they've done so far. The sketch review is a great asset. It's a great tool for anyone to be able to go in and find out if this project is feasible. Streamlining the review process too as well. And the other important one is Ag Plus. We need to give opportunities for the agricultural department to be able to have other options other than haying or farming on their property. They need to have other options. Mm-hmm. My opponent has worked 4 years on this, and he just recently voted no on it. So for me, this needs to change. It needs to happen. It is well known in the town of Bayfield for people to annex themselves from the county and go into the town of Bayfield. Why? To have it done, the process done quicker, and to have the project approved a whole lot faster, and it's a whole lot streamlined. What I'm really enjoying is the new land use code is very similar to the Bayfield land use code. It is apples to oranges, but the streamlining, the review process will make things a whole lot better for La Plata County residents. So I am for it.
Thank you, Matt. Marsha?
Yeah, and then after that, it looks like we might have a few questions in the chat or Q&A. Yes, I support the code, and there's a couple reasons I support the code. Everybody here, and it looks like we have a good number of participants, may remember in January of 18 when 1,000 people showed up at our fairgrounds and were frustrated. Frustrated might be a nice word to use, actually. They were very mad, a little alienated, if you will, from the code that came out in draft. And I commend the district planning groups. I commend the planning commission. I commend the staff of the county, the planning staff, the attorney to county manager, and the commissioners for bringing the code to where it is. I support it for 3 reasons. Number one, people wanting to do something shouldn't have to spend $200,000 to get to a no. That doesn't make sense. And so there's more assurity, there's more certainty. We don't have zoning except for the Animas Valley, and I will uphold the Animas Valley zoning. It is important to that community. Everywhere else, we have what is called compatibility and performance-based zoning that now has criteria with it. I think before it was a little bit more vague, and now we have criteria. I think we have things built in to protect neighborhoods. That is very important. If you moved here or managed to scrape enough to buy a house, you want your neighborhood protected. And so I think the code balances a lot of things. Is it perfect? No, it is not perfect. And on Tuesday, we're going to hear the commissioners. Next week, the commissioners do more debating, but I support the code. Looks like we have questions.
Oh, yes. Why are Matt and Marsha, hold on, oh, I don't know if that can, I'm having trouble seeing the chat questions, so I'm just gonna check one more thing and then go back to that question. But we do have one on jobs. So, and Marsha, we'll start with you on this one. Pardon me, this one is about broadband. What will you do to get broadband access across the county and not just Durango?
Broadband, I met with Miriam at COG, the Southwest COG last year, and continue through the La Plata Economic Development Alliance to understand this issue. I will tell all of you, understanding broadband is a lot to a lot to try to take in, if you will. My takeaway is this: I think the commissioner's role is advocacy. I think the commissioner's role is to keep a strong La Plata Economic Development Alliance, which has taken this on as a key priority. And where we can fund grants, for example, partnerships, there are a number of entities working on this, and it's all about being in a rural resort area, and we don't get enough funds. And so we're going to need to advocate to our federal government, to our state government. Anytime any infrastructure grants come about, we ought to be first in line to write the grant and support it, and support the Economic Development Alliance. LPEA is working on this, as are private companies. And so we're going to get there. And I know that the pandemic has done many things, and it has shown a huge digital divide. I have a friend that has to come to the city market parking lot to do business, and that is unacceptable in a community that is growing. And so I support broadband. And again, it's kind of like affordable housing. We need to talk about it more. It's very hard to understand, you know, first mile, last mile, dark fiber. I mean, Matt's in technology. He probably understands a little bit more than I do, but I think the role is advocacy and voice and getting as much of those dollars into our community as possible. It's expensive to take broadband to some of the more rural geographic areas.
You know, so Marsha is correct on this, but you know what I like about the relationship between Marsha and myself is that she is definitely strong on a lot of suits and vice versa on certain issues. And on this, as I went to Fort Lewis College for my information systems degree, and I have a small business in IT. This is very important to me. As we very well know, during this pandemic, we have found that we really need better broadband services. I've seen several Zoom meetings that do not work well due to poor internet quality. When I was the mayor of Bayfield, we did a study for a broadband feasibility study, and I'm happy to bring back the news is that next week they will be bringing an RFP towards ISPs, internet service providers, to be able to find the cost that will happen to be able to finish our fiber loop in Bayfield. And you say, and I keep saying the town of Bayfield, but what's good about this is that this will be able to spiderweb off the town to the rural communities in this area. As your county commissioner, I will still be doing that too as well in the Durango and Ignacio area. There needs to be a hub somewhere. So let the towns and the city be that hub, so then we can have a relationship with La Plata Electric. They're already been working on putting their power poles to be able to string fiber across their lines. So there is a way. Just like Marsha said too as well, money, the cost. How are we going to pay for this? We need to be first in line for every grant opportunity to be able to take care of our infrastructure, broadband, roads, street, everything. We need to look at every option of getting that money from the state. So again, back to relationships and all working together as a team.
Thank you, Matt. We do have a question from the audience, and that is, I'm getting them texted, so bear with me. Why are Matt and Marsha the best candidates for the future of La Plata? We're going to start with you, Matt.
We have well, for myself, I have passion. I was the son of a military family. I moved every 2 to 3 years. I've lived here now for 20 years. My wife's family has been here since 1896, and my side of the family has been here for 20 years. I understand the past history of La Plata County due to my family. For me, I've been a part of it. I'm in the trenches just like everyone else. I understand the struggles. So for me, the reason why I am the best candidate in my district is because I have heart, I have dedication. This is my home. I am now finally from somewhere. Some may decide, you know, there's a certain time limit, then you can say you're from here. But this is finally a place I've lived for a very long time. I'm not going anywhere else. And I love to be a part of it and make sure that we go in a great direction for the future of La Plata County.
Thank you. Marsha?
I believe that I am the better candidate over my opponent for a couple of reasons. The first reason is I'm a proven leader. I said in my opening the things I've done. You can go to my website. I'm always can send you my resume if anybody wonders about the specific projects I've worked on. Government is not a talking point. It's not a marketing blitz. Government is sometimes meticulously slow. It can be challenging. There can be a lot of conflict. Of course, we know that. That's what I do. I'm a public issues facilitator and mediator. So I believe there's these 1,300 meetings I've done with 100 groups. The reason I talk about that so much is every single meeting I've done, I learned. And I met a new person. I learned how everything from Head Start works to the public health department, to the road and bridge department, to how public land agencies work, how our water quality is monitored, the methane cloud over us. I mean, I have facilitated meetings about everything. Not everything, I'm kidding. But, you know, it doesn't make me an expert in these areas, but it makes me have a familiarity with the systems and the people. And so I'm proven in terms of, this isn't my first rodeo. I can say that because I grew up on a ranch. I'm in it for public service. That is my core reason. The people that are elected officials work a lot of hours, and that's okay because it's a very important job. And finally, you don't do it alone. It's not a one-woman show. It's not a one-man show. You have all the other elected officials and the county staff and the 40 boards and commissions. So I'm a collaborator and I like to get things done. And I think we have questions now in the chat, if you can see those, Beverly.
I do have one. I'm just trying to figure out how to merge two questions that we did receive.
Oh, okay, got it.
Are you finished with your answer?
I'm good.
So one of the questions that we received earlier was, how can the county encourage economic development? But I'm going to merge that also with a lot of people are going to move here. Where are they going to live, and what kind of opportunities for careers we can provide? And I know we talked a little bit earlier about affordable housing, so I don't know if that person asking that question heard your answers for that. But I think what our question will be is, how can the county encourage economic development, which I believe is what this is asking, is where are they going to live and what kind of opportunities for careers can we provide? And so Marsha, we're going to start again with you.
I'm really interested in rural economic development. I actually developed a comprehensive economic development strategy with Region 9 Economic Development many years ago. That was one of my consulting assignments. And I'm interested in it because it impacts people's lives. Sometimes the words economic development are a little maybe dry, and we might need to find a new way to reframe that and brand it, because what it means is a job that leads to quality of life. And so the way the county can facilitate that, I believe the biggest way the county can do that is to have a good land use code. Because that's where the county mostly interfaces with businesses that want to do something, whether it's the new Ag Plus provision where agriculture people have an easier time, and I totally support that, doing value added and agriculture operations on their property. Maybe it's somebody that wants to start whatever kind of business, a home-based business. We need to make that compatible, certainly with surrounding neighborhoods, but to facilitate those locally grown jobs, I think we can let go. I mean, it's great to have a WorldPay and a Stone Age. We need those companies here, but we also need to grow our own companies that are already here. That's the best economic development strategy. When a little business that's 2 people can add 2 more. I also think participation and collaboration with the Economic Development Alliance, it's a great group, and Region 9 Economic Development and the local chambers, I learned from a couple mentors, like show up to meetings, go as a commissioner and sit there with your name tag on and don't say anything and learn. And so I think we have a lot of good things happening that commissioners need to facilitate and support.
Thank you, Marsha. Matt?
So what I said before too as well is I was a secretary of La Plata Economic Alliance. I was on the board for 4 years. And so I know the hard work that goes into retaining and attracting new businesses in the county. So for me, is to rely on those organizations. The county already puts money into these organizations. We need to get them all to the table, working together, creating a plan for us to be able to move forward with. As well as what Marsha said, land use code, that is important. We need direction. We need to have it to where it's easier for businesses as well as residential residents to be able to do their projects, to complete them in a timely manner. I was appalled at the last forum that we all went to, that there was a gentleman that was trying to do a line adjustment. In that line adjustment, he owned both properties, and it's now over a year since it hasn't even been approved yet. So what business or what people will want to come here to have a housing development? Why would they want to start that when they see the troubles and how difficult it is to have a project to move forward? So for me, that is relying on our organizations that we already put money into, as well as completing the land use code. And for people where they can live, I've already done it here in Bayfield. There's some housing options, but I want to work harder too as well for rural community to be able to give better options for people to live in. So for me is let's all get together to the table and create a plan and move forward with it.
Thank you, Matt. We do have some questions from the audience, and I'm trying to figure out my screen here, so you might hear some bells in the background, and that's because I've got a timer going and I'm getting some text questions, but I think I've got this figured out. One question we have for Matt and Marsha: do you feel that your unaffiliated opponents are nonpartisan enough to represent the full constituent of La Plata County? And Matt, I think we ended with you, so we'll start with Matt and then Marsha. Thank you.
This is an easy answer for me. He is not. I was an unaffiliated voter for majority of my voting life, and I have Democratic values. That is why I am a Democrat. As a nonpartisan mayor, I looked at all sides of an issue, and I will still bring that back to as your county commissioner. My opponent was registered as a Republican. Several years later, registered for the American Constitution Party. Then just not too long ago has switched over to independent. So for me, that is not, for me, that's too much jumping around. I've gone from unaffiliated to the Democrat, and that's where I'm at, and that's where I'm happy with. So no, for me, I believe my past experience as a mayor and as a town trustee for the town of Bayfield is proven that I look at all sides of an issue, and I am here as a person to look at all sides. And as my opponent, you make the decision for yourself. I've given you the facts, and as a voter, get involved, read a little bit more. It's out there, and I believe the answer is no. He cannot represent the unaffiliated.
Marsha.
I believe that my opponent is just based on donors, based on yard signs, is predominantly the Republican nominee de facto. And I don't say that to put this hyper partisan statement out there. I think, like Matt said, let's just look at facts. When we're running, we all have to stand on who we're getting support from and what that looks like. So I believe that it is, unaffiliated does not mean that you don't lean towards a certain way. And so I think that we are running, I am running against somebody that, again, is predominantly backed by Republicans. And that brings a certain value set with it, just like being a Democrat does. I am a proud Democrat. And for the reasons that Julie mentioned, I believe that it's the party of the people. And I believe we work very hard to get things done for everyone. And I really encourage voters not to bring any frustration or anger about national polarization into this county commissioner race. And I believe that is what my opponent is largely running on, is that, do you hate the parties? Well, I do too. Well, a commissioner job is nonpartisan the way that it's carried out. And I just believe we're going to do much better by sticking to the issues and not bringing that national poison polarization into our races. Thank you.
Thank you. We have one more question on, well, actually, we have room, I think, for a few more. This one is on transparency. How will you ensure open communication on decisions impacting La Plata County?
And we'll start with Marsha.
I think transparency is more important now than ever. The distrust of government at all levels. And it used to be that people distrusted Congress, but they trusted their local or their state. And every year we see the polling that the trust of government, for a myriad reasons, it's probably a whole nother webinar why this has happened. So elected officials have to act in the most transparent way possible. One good thing about the pandemic, I think, is Zoom, just like we're on tonight. So the more meetings, I hope we get back to a day that we can have meetings in person. People want to be in person. You lose a lot by not having a room full of people. I know that facilitator. But I believe that if somebody lives out in Breen or in Tiffany or in Bayfield and there's a meeting in Durango, we can now incorporate Zoom into our meetings. I would like to give a refresh to the on the road that the commissioners do, and work with my fellow commissioners about a way to bring that to life. Do it more often, maybe do it more, maybe have like potlucks where we can sit down with citizens and talk in a non-formal way. I think people need to get to know us as elected officials. And then finally, I believe if we can find a way to stream the county commissioner meetings, that is really important. I live in the city of Durango, and I can sit down and have dinner and watch city council meetings, and I must say it's pretty nice. And so we ought to be able to do that through Zoom and other low-tech, low-cost mechanisms, so people can know exactly what's happening at their government level. Thank you.
Matt?
Marsha's on point with this. When I first became mayor of Bayfield, there was no Facebook page. The website was not well put together, and we didn't stream or record any of our meetings. I got that to happen. So for me, I will play off of what Marsha said about the on the road. I feel that that is key. That is important. There's so many people that are working all day long and they can't make these meetings. So what can we do in order to open ourselves up to travel throughout the county, to be able to get questions, comments, or concerns, to be able to apply that to the decision that we were going to make on whatever policy is put in front of us. So for me, I would look into one, I will make sure my email and my phone number is accessible. I will make sure that I can reach out to people. I will have open office hours, traveling not only just in District 3, but as well as in District 2 and District 1, because we're here to represent everyone. As well as I'm still trying to figure out, but what I'm really focusing on is if there is a meeting on Tuesday, I want to be available the day before or a few days before that to take public comment from people, to be able to listen to what they have to say on whatever that topic is. I want to do my best to make sure that they feel that they are being heard. And you're right, the federal level, everything is trickling down to the municipal level and to the county commissioner level. And we need to make a point to make sure that we are there for them. We're not here for ourselves, and we're here to listen to you. It's your county, and I want to be your voice. So for us, I will be reaching out to the public a whole lot more.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to go to the chat, and I'm looking at a question on any ideas for promoting tourism as an income generator post-COVID. All the relationships you have are so helpful. Matt, do you want to start us off?
So we definitely back again to our organizations and working together with them to try to promote people to come back to Durango. But the question will be is when is that? So for me, it would be really highlighting our organizations to be able to put out those tourist pieces and with commercials and magazines and newspapers to say, hey, it's safe again. Come on down. We want our train to run again. We want Silverton. It's not in the county, but we need those dollars. The city of Durango relies on a lot of that tourist dollars, and they are going to be affected by this. Marsha and myself will definitely be focusing and following their budget as well, because I know they're really going to have to tighten their belt. So for me, it'll be fine getting our organizations that deal with tourism to work on a plan to be able to promote our county to come on back. We're safe. Everything is great. And please enjoy this beautiful county.
Thank you. Marsha?
I think that any funding that the county gives to promoting tourism definitely needs to be kept at the same level. It's a huge economic driver. It's 30% of our economy. And I'm not gonna be able to quote this correctly, so I'll on my Facebook page, if I'm wrong about this, I'll correct it. The La Plata County Economic Development Alliance has cited that we're like in the 95th percentile nationally for how COVID has impacted us, meaning that's not good because of our the nature of our economy. So the way we bring tourism back is, I think we have Visit Durango and anything that the chambers of commerce are doing. So there's a lot happening. We are a very good drive market. That has a downside that some of the states coming here are also high states for COVID. So there's always a downside to things. But I think we need to do everything we can, because so many jobs, I'll tell you, during the pandemic, one of the weirdest experiences I think I had was driving down the main streets in La Plata County and having them shuttered. And there's business owners sitting behind those doors. There's workers sitting at home. I know there's the unemployment that occurred that just has run out, I believe. So people are hurting, and we need to hear those stories. That's where the getting out and talking to people really matters, is that's where you hear the stories. We can't fix it all, but then that's when I go back to advocating to our federal officials and our state officials to make sure we're getting our percentage of any future CARES Act money. And that it's not that's going to the mom and pop operations that we have across La Plata County.
Thank you. Okay, again, going to chat. Now, I'm just going to read this because I think they are related, I believe. And the question is, a lot of people use the term smart growth. What does that mean to you both? And the related
so I guess it's one of those two-part questions. What are the top infrastructure priorities, economic infrastructure as well? And Marsha, we'll start with you.
That's a great question. I think our infrastructure priority, I'll go backwards a little bit. The infrastructure priority is to make sure our road and bridge fund doesn't run quite the deficit that it does every year. We're about $1.5 million short every year of what it needs to be to keep up with growth. We're going to have 70,000 people living here by 2030. Where are they going to live? What kind of roads are they going to have? Can the sheriff respond to any things that are happening? These are really important questions. So I think the infrastructure priorities, instead of saying, well, I think it's this bridge or I think it's this road, it's this overall blanket priority of funding our roads and bridges. The crews do a great job. Everybody loves their road and bridge crew. It's a matter of providing them enough resources. I think the reason our roads are in such good shape is the crews do a good job. To me, smart growth means that we are balancing our natural, aesthetic, environmental values that everybody loves in La Plata County. No matter your political stripe, you love riparian areas, you love wildlife, you love open space, balancing that with property rights and development. And that is a very challenging tall order. It's where my background, I think, comes in particularly important, is the looking at all the interests. But smart growth means to me that we're not just allowing sprawl and strip malls to be all over the county. I don't think that's what people want. It's clustered development. It's looking at smart growth. We are going to need more housing. We're going to need more businesses. We need more economic development areas, but we can do it in a smart way so that we're not harming existing neighborhood and the values that make this place so special.
Thank you. We're coming on our time limit, but my guess is that the candidates will stay on if people will stay on. But just for those that do have to end, I did have a little bit of a closing statement that I'll share. And if you guys are okay, we can take more questions if you have the time. So I just, again, want to thank you both. You're doing great on time. We really appreciate it. And we respect everyone else's time. I know this is sometimes cuts into the dinner hour. But just to remind everybody, Marsha Porter Norton, Matt Sulka, these are candidates in two separate districts in La Plata County. They're not opponents. So you can vote for both Matt and Marsha. And for more information or ways you can get involved, please contact Matt and Marsha. I'm going to give Marsha's website first, and hopefully I'll do this correctly. It's www.marshaporternorton, so no hyphen, just marshaporternorton.com. And Matt's www.matt, M-A-T-T, Salka, S like Sam, A-L-K-A.com. Or you can email me. I'm Beverly, Beverly @laplatadem's.org. So for those of you that joined us tonight and have to leave us early, thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your evening. And Matt and Marsha will stay on if you can take a few more questions.
Thank you, everybody.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you.
All right. Well, actually, we have a minute before it's 6 o'clock on my computer. But so now this question is with regard, we haven't touched on this yet, and we have actually touched on quite a lot. We've touched on COVID, we've touched on land use code, on jobs, on broadband, on your opponents, on how you differ with your opponents, and also on tourism. This one is, the question is, I believe in protecting our public lands. What are some areas in our county that need attention? And how can we balance growth? That same question that we've been talking about tonight. How can you balance growth with, someone asked a question and then my thing just went out, and I have bifocals, so I apologize. Here, hold on, let me see if I can find that question again. But I think it's just basically, how do you balance growth? And we ended last with,
so that, yeah. So for me,
oh, Marsha, okay, Matt's going.
No, so yeah, I think was, I'll
go ahead.
So
ahead.
for me is the land use code for balancing growth. We need direction. We need to know what's our next steps on whatever project is putting in front of us, as well as I've always said, let's rely on these cluster developments. Let's rely on our towns and our city to be able to provide a lot of those housing opportunities for families to afford. Honestly, in my opinion, Durango is getting built out. So let's look at Ignacio. Let's look at Bayfield. Let's keep the sprawl. Let's keep the growth in the areas where people want to have a neighbor really close to them. That will provide, so what I always tell people is, let's keep the housing, the development, and the growth clusters, as well as in the town and the city, and let's keep the rural community. So for me, that will be following our new land use code and hopefully when it does get approved, as well as relying on our towns and our city to provide the resources and the necessities for families to be able to purchase or a job to be able to do that. Also, as well as I would rely on Conservation Colorado. These are organizations that can help. This is not a strong suit for me. I've been a small town mayor, so these type of organizations would help lead me and help better educate myself to understand, to protect our open space. That is crucial for me. We all live here due to our open space. If we wanted to live in the concrete jungle, we wouldn't be here. So for me, it would be the organizations to help get direction and help protect those open spaces, because that's one big reason why I live here. I love hiking, I love boating, I love getting out and enjoying the fresh air. So for me, it's not a strong suit, but I do understand I will fight hard for our open space.
Great. Thank you. Marsha?
All right. I separate that question. I look at it. I actually have the chat open. Public lands, I've actually specialized in public lands almost exclusively the last 14 years in public lands facilitation, and that has encompassed water, it has encompassed forest health, it has encompassed tamarisk removal in the Dolores River, and on and on and on. So I think in terms of our public lands, the area, so the question is, what is some of the areas that county that need attention? It's our forests. Our forests are hurting with drought and the beetle kill and various pests and infestations. It is where our water comes from. And so the new Rocky Mountain Restoration Initiative is very important. And where we can really support these collaborative efforts that are looking at forest health, I think is really important. Another part of our public lands that the county does not rule on is the idea of mineral development. And we sometimes are asked to consult and get involved in those kinds of issues, as well as trails. Not that the commissioners rule on if a trail is this or that or this or that, but oftentimes may comment or be asked to at least have an opinion. So we have 60%, over 60% of public lands in our community. We love them. With drought and climate change impacting our public lands, it impacts our water, our air quality, and everything. So that's where my background in collaboration and understanding all the complexities of the entities involved and how they work is important. It's a priority of mine as well.
Great. Well, I think we've buzzed through most of our questions. I think and I think actually this was asked earlier, but there was a question from a young person, and I want to find that again because I'm not sure if we addressed that, and I just want to make sure we take care of everybody. Hold on one second. Let me see if I can just find that for a moment. And
just that question is why Marsha the best candidates for La Plata, asking for all the younger folks trying to hear. Thanks.
well, I think I know we answered, I asked the first part of it, but I'm hoping that that was addressed from the youth perspective of young people trying to move here and to be able to move here. And we talked about affordable housing, so I think that touched on that as well. And so just in closing, basically the last question that was asked was, why vote for you? And we covered that a little bit, but if you guys want to just maybe summarize, and Marsha, would you like to lead us off there?
Sure. First of all, I hope that I can earn your vote, and I hope you will tell 10 friends that you were on this and something that might have stuck out for you. I believe that I am the best person to vote for because of my proven experience. I've covered that. I'm in this for public service. I have a lot of relationships across the county in nonprofits, in the government sectors, with just people. Everything from, you know, Trout Unlimited to people in ranching and farming and the water groups in our community and human service groups and on and on and on. And those relationships really matter to me. And I will work very hard. I do my homework. I don't answer a question until I can feel good about it, or I'll say, you know, I'll get back to you. I have integrity and I have an even temperament. And I think those things are very important now, as we're going to need to lead through one of the most extraordinary times really in our history. We have race relation concerns and things happening right here in La Plata County. We have very serious economic issues, and we have very serious health issues. And so this isn't a time for somebody that isn't tested and true in the public arena. And I think that I don't have all the answers. I think that would be silly to say I do, but I try to find them with people and find them together. I like collaboration, and I like everybody getting in the room, hearing all the ideas and making the best decision possible. So I'll be a hard worker, and I am here for everybody's future, young families, seniors on fixed incomes, people who just moved here, people who have been here their whole lives, or fifth or sixth generation. We all matter, and I will work for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Marsha. And Matt.
Yes. So for me, it would be, please, I need all of your help. I've made a name for myself in the town of Bayfield and the Bayfield community. So like Marsha said, please share our video. I will be putting this on my Facebook page as well as my website. So if you could please do me a big favor, and that would be tell your friends, your family, get this information out. My goal is I need to get my name out throughout La Plata County, not only just in my district, but I need help everywhere else. So for me, please contact me. I'm here to answer any questions. I'm here for you. The second of all, for me, is I have been a part of the town of Bayfield. I have past experience with municipal government. I have the understanding of being there and listening to the people. What I want to do is listen to you, give you the honest answers. Be honest. Don't sugarcoat any of this. Tell you the options that we have put forth of us and the reason why we've made these decisions. And first and foremost, I need to learn. There's a lot I still need to learn. Marsha's a very strong candidate with open space. And so for me, I've got your business experience as well. I have the relationships already built throughout the whole county with the city of Durango County, as well as Ignacio and Bayfield. With those relationships, we can all sit together at the table and get a lot done. I'm here to work for you. I've made sure I made 100% attendance record as the mayor of Bayfield. I deeply care about my community, and I'm going to work hard for you. So like I said, my number is on my Facebook page, on my website. Contact me anytime. I'm here to listen to you and tell you how I feel and what I believe in. Again, my name is Matt Salka, and please vote for me.
Terrific. Thank you both so much for your time tonight. Again, you can vote for both of these candidates for District 2 for Marsha Porter Norton, District 3, which was Julie's seat, Matt Salka, and their websites, marshaporternorton.com, mattsalka.com, and beverly@laplatadems.org. Because you can, if you're interested in getting involved, we can really use your help this election. And I know that Marsha can use your help, Matt can use your help, I can use your help. We're trying to elect all of our ticket races here, but we also are looking for the best candidates. And we are just so fortunate and lucky to have our candidates, Matt and Marsha, for County Commissioner. So thanks everybody, we really appreciate it. We hope you vote. Ballots will be mailed out the week of October 9th. And there's so much in the news about the mail.
So if you don't get your ballot, you need to find out, and we need to get you information. And again, you could use that email I have or that Marsha or Matt has to make sure that we get you a ballot, that you vote early, that you hopefully know who you're voting for in this election, and that you mark that ballot and you drop it off. I think that would probably be the best thing to do in this election. So vote early, drop off your ballot, save a stamp, and we hope you'll join me because I'm voting for Matt and Marsha, and I hope you will as well. So once again, you can like them, share them. They have their recordings that will be on Facebook. They'll also be on their website, and that's also in the chat. And thanks everybody again for joining us tonight and taking time out of your busy lives. We so appreciate it.
Thank you.
all. Thank you.
Beverly. Good job, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, panelists and guests.
Thank you all.
Bye.